What's up, guys? I'm BTC. We got some new information about the recent experimental mode buffs, nerfs, and also we can expect yet more Moira changes coming up in new experimental modes real soon. So the first thing we're going to look at is Genji. Just a little while ago, he got some buffs where it increased his damage per attack. They also reduced the spread on his secondary attack. In this most recent experimental mode, what they did was they nerfed the damage back down a bit, and they also increased the amount of recovery time on his secondary attack. So they buffed his damage up, they buffed up his potential, and then the recent one, they lowered it back down a little bit. And they said that Genji's recent buffs have increased the hero pick rate considerably. We're excited to see the hero getting more playtime, but some of the changes pushed his power level a bit too far. The tested changes to Shuriken are aimed at rebalancing his burst potential. We believe these changes are the right direction for Genji, and we'll be patching these changes into the live game mode soon. So overall, what's going to happen is that his damage is still going to be a little bit higher than it was originally, but not nearly as bad. And you're also still going to have that reduced spread on the secondary attack. So at further range, you're still going to be able to hit more of the enemy with that secondary attack, but it takes a little bit longer with the recovery time. So you're not going to be able to just keep hitting them really fast as you did before. So overall, this is a nerf to his damage, but it's still better than what it was. Moving on to Moira. There's a whole lot going on with this character. They said that the team has been iterating on Moira's kit over the past couple months, and this is the second experimental mode focused on these potential changes. We have a few main goals for Moira's gameplay. We want Moira to be fun to play. We want Moira to have the opportunity to make big game-impacting plays, and we want Moira's gameplay to feel skillful and dynamic. The current experiment is a glimpse into just one of the various iterations the team has been exploring to achieve these goals. For this test, it was important for the team to get feedback on the Fade ability test specifically. We wanted it to be used and to feel powerful. Sometimes during earlier phases of development, it's more helpful to test abilities at their extremes and fine-tune with balance later. It's likely that if we wanted to pursue the Fade ability change further, we would adjust the ability's cooldown or its interaction with other hero ultimate abilities, which means that they basically would be nerfing the cooldown. It would probably go up to like 10 or 12 seconds would be my guess. That being said, however, we're not currently planning to move forward with the Moira changes being tested within the experimental mode. The team has already been working on a few other tests aimed towards the goals listed above. We have more we'd like to try with her damage orb and the Fade abilities. We'll be testing internally over the next few weeks and expect to have another experimental mode changes in the future. So it sounds to me like they wanted to test it, but they weren't too happy with the results, so they're just going to put the ability off to the side in the maybe we'll use it later pile. However, I think most of the changes for Moira are going to focus on the biotic orb, specifically the damage orb. As I've said in the past, I don't think a pure damage ability belongs on a support character. The biotic orb for damage is the only support ability in the entire game that only deals damage. Other abilities like Whip Shot or Lucio's Boop and whatever, they all have extra effects that add utility or healing or something or knockback or whatever, but the biotic orb is the only one. It's just pure damage. It doesn't help your team, and it just doesn't seem like it's really an appropriate thing to have on a support character. I don't know what they're going to do with it, if they're going to add extra effects like I suggested with an anti-heal. I don't think they're going to add any sort of crowd control like slows or stuns or anything. That just seems kind of going in the opposite direction of what they've been trying to do lately, because they've been nerfing a lot of the CC stuff, so it doesn't seem like they would add more of it to Moira. I think if anything, they're going to just kind of adjust how it deals damage and maybe give the player a little bit more control over it. Or possibly they could just get rid of it entirely and replace it with something else. And just keep the healing biotic orb, keep that, and then just replace the damage one with something else entirely. A couple other things, we have that other experimental mode and the summer games, both of which should be happening pretty soon. I made a video yesterday talking about the summer games. I expect that it could start as early as this week, or possibly in the next couple weeks, maybe August 4th to August 11th, somewhere in that range. And somewhere maybe before then, we might get that second experimental mode, which is supposed to be that failed test. We didn't really get a lot of information on it. They just told us that there was this big experiment that they tried and it just failed miserably and they're not going to do it. But they still want to put it into the experimental mode just for everybody to play around and mess with it and stuff and just to see what it was. We don't know what that's going to be. It doesn't sound like it's going to be hero balance changes. It sounds like it's going to be something much bigger than that. And hopefully we get that pretty soon. We could get that this week and maybe next week, and then have Summer Games start up after that. But we got a whole bunch of stuff that should be arriving in the next couple weeks, and then after the Summer Games starts, we'll probably get another Moira change a couple weeks or so after that. So what do you guys think about these changes with Moira? Do you think they should have kept with that new fade, with the team buff utility and that phasing stuff? Should they have kept it? And if they did, how much more of a cooldown would you have added to it? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to be comment of the video, then leave yours, and while you're at it, ring the bell so you never miss a new video. Also, if you want to get some cool gear, join my Discord server, or follow me on social media, then check out the links down below. And remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault.